Hi, I'm Jim Raffle. Welcome to this week's episode of the Jim and Shelby Show, All Things Print Podcast. I am joined by
Shelby Safusek. How are you, Jim?
I'm great. Why don't you tell people where we are?
We are in my lab in Greensboro, North Carolina, and this is the first time you've been here.
Well, it's not the first time I've been to Greensboro.
No, but in the lab. Right.
So you had a lab in a previous residence.
Right, but it was just like a third bedroom of my house.
Yeah, this is a little more than that. Absolutely.
We'll do a little tour of that.
You'll get to see it. You'll get to see things as we go on. And so what we're going to be doing today, we had some project work that is client related, and we're going to take you behind the scenes of that, right? And so we did a little bit of pre-work yesterday just to test things out. So this is obviously a mug, which we're going to use a mug press, and we're going to take this plain white mug and we're going to put the same image on it, but there'll probably be a color difference. And when we come back from a different segment, we'll explain what the color difference is. And then Shelby, why don't you tell them what else you're going to do over here?
So I have an Etsy store called Shelby's Shelf, and we kind of started that a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. And part of it is just me being able to test some things for other clients and everything. But the Etsy store does sell things, and so we're going to make a patch. And then we are also going to make a pair of socks because we had some sophomore changes, and I need to see if the color has changed.
Absolutely, yeah. So, we work with Vic at Craft Express. He and I have made some fun episodes.
Both of the heat presses we're going to be using today are Craft Express heat presses.
And we do some work with Sawgrass, who provides us with these printers.
And ink.
Yeah, and so we're testing some software, some changes for them, and some profiles we've helped them build. So we will be right back, and the next thing we're going to show you, I think, is making a mug.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, we're going to work on the mug now. And we've also decided you're going to let your Etsy store customers know about this. So you're going to get a behind-the-scenes look at how Shelby makes some of these products. So I've already we printed this on the Sawgrass printer, and we've cut these down to an appropriate size. Now, for a production environment, we would probably redo these and make it so you can just put one piece of paper on here. Mm-hmm. But we're going to tape the second one on. So you basically tape the image side towards the mug.
And the images are mirrored, because we're using dye sublimation as our printing process. So when the heat transfers the image, it will not be backwards like the print is.
So we've got the two sides on here, and it's going to be crooked, but that's fine.
We're showing them how we do it. And
so over here is a mug press. You slide it in the mug. It is 360 degrees, so I highly recommend not putting your hands on the inside, and kind of got to adjust it a little bit. Yeah, we're in the gap a little bit, so we'll have to, again, it's not that big a deal. You would normally have the paper sized a little bit better. And yeah, so it's got 294 seconds left to go, and we don't have 294 seconds of talk track, so we'll pause. We are just about done here. We're going to open up the press. You do want to use something to protect your hand because this is very hot, as you might imagine. And I usually use a oven mitt of some type on one hand and a glove like this on the other so that I can get things off more easily. Oh, there's the tape. And let's see if we can get this other piece off.
I can see... Now, right away, we can see the color difference,
yeah,
but
difference.
The color will continue to change as this thing cools off.
And I don't know, and the question is always which one's right and which one's wrong. We have it up on Photoshop over here, and we can always compare the two more directly. This actually looks like it's under... Yeah, this is not a great transfer. We'd have to do it again, Shelby, to know for sure.
Okay.
It did not transfer well. I don't know if that's the same exact settings we had yesterday too.
That's correct.
That's interesting. So basically I'm looking at it and I can see print quality issues here. And that happens. I mean, that's part of the dye sublimation process. I might have to just give it a little bit more pressure actually. But I can already tell you that, yeah, these two have very different colors. And that's kind of what we needed to see.
Yeah.
So
I can definitely see. I feel like you had a different amount of pressure
yeah,
on yesterday's
yeah.
version. Um,
I
just
think
looking
this
at
is
the
actually
letters.
truer to the color when I look over. This has got a lot of
Hmm.
red and warmth in it that is not in that image, I don't think. So
A lot of this is experimentation.
yeah, you're in a lab. This
Yeah.
is yeah.
This is what we do, though.
Shelby does do production, and under production situations, it would be different. She actually doesn't have any mugs in her Etsy store. She's going to,
Yeah.
and that's part of what we're figuring out in addition to which profile to use.
Mhm.
So as long as we're running, do you want to
Sure.
talk about what you're doing with socks?
So let me grab. Excuse me.
Come over here while she grabs.
Yeah.
So she's got a pair of socks over here already taped up.
I wanted to, because we've changed software and because it does matter, this is a pair of anklet socks that I made a few days ago, I suppose. And I'm betting with the new software, I made another print and I've taped this pair. I'm doing, the only variable that's changing is the software. I want to do the same kind of socks, the same print, and I'm same settings on the heat presses. Again, this is a clamshell Craft Express heat press. So I've used heat tape to tape the image there. I'm going to press this and then flip it around, take this off, and then press that one. So I simply put that here. We have parchment paper that we use on either side of it. That's to protect the press itself. And then I come down and I wait 50 seconds for that to go. So 50 seconds has gone by. So now I can take my socks out. This isn't super hot because we're talking about fabric, but I can see right away
Different color.
a different color.
Not as big as
not as much as I thought.
Mug.
Yeah, but I feel like this one has a little bit more red in it, magenta. But I mean, it's not bad. It's just different. So then I would go through and do the same thing on the other side. And after they cool down, I'll do a better comparison because color changes until it stops with the heat. So these are still pretty warm. But I'm going to go ahead and finish making these, and then we'll compare them again. So I wanted to give you a quick tour of the lab, and I want to make it clear that this is just kind of a side hustle. So my Etsy store is a way for me to experiment. I sometimes do little craft shows, but mostly a lot of this is sold in the Etsy store. So this is the actual Shelby shelf here, and this is what I use for my logo. We have magnets. This is just an example. You'll see more in a minute. We can customize pretty much anything. These are aluminum bookmarks, and what I love about them is that they don't tear. I'm an avid reader. I didn't make this hat, but I do make patches. I'll show you some of these. And of course, a lot of different kinds of socks. Over the years, we have done things like bottle openers. I have like card cases that we've printed. These are little coin purses. I actually use these to keep my business cards in. Over here is just different socks, more magnets, more bookmarks, and then our array of patches. I have recently got a hat press. I'm going to be working with that pretty soon. And then along the back wall is pretty much all the equipment. So we have different presses, and then between is computers and printers. So, and then Zeke here, my dog, he's still wearing his Grinchy Christmas sweater. He's the production manager. If he would turn around, he's a little deaf. Or he is deaf. There he is. But so yep. So we have an office pet.
You do. You have an office pet.
How's the mug going, Jim?
We have another 221 seconds on our mug too.
So I guess I can show you. I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but these socks that I've made.
I see a difference from here.
Yeah. I mean, these are the ones I made today. These are the ones I made a couple days ago. And now that they're cool, I think we can definitely see a difference in the yellow. I think the magenta is really the thing right here. If you look at the bacon on these, don't go bacon my heart. I couldn't if I fried, haha. I can definitely see a difference in reds here. And also, I see more magenta in what this was supposed to be. This is closer to what I intended it to be, the old ones. So I feel like we're going away from, what the color should be. So we have some work yet to do in the lab. Some of the other things that we can make, I have kind of a harder surface coaster that I made. These are the more bendable, flexible coasters, and same kind of aluminum I use for the bookmarks. I've been making kind of business cards, things that we can pass out at trade shows. And I showed you patches earlier, so this is how I would make a patch. These are hook and loop patches, so first I would take off the back and just save that. Someone actually ordered this one today in my Etsy store. These are pre-designed, so I want to line it up so that it covers the image, and I'm going to use heat tape just like we were using with the socks and the mug, just to keep it in place. Now on your heat press, as Jim was talking about pressure, before I did socks and they're a little bit thicker, so I'm going to turn this dial to the right just to make it a little thicker. And then since this is a small product, I'm going to save the paper a little bit and just kind of fold it over like so. And then once again, I'm doing 385 for 50 seconds, and I can kind of feel how much pressure that is, and it feels right to me. And I'll let that go, and then I'll show you when it's done.
All right. So what I like about the Etsy store is that it keeps you involved on a daily basis, almost a daily basis, with going through the process of using the software, printing, and actually transferring. And so it keeps us our dye sublimation skills at a very high level. And in the consulting part of our business,
correct,
dye sublimation is one of our favorite areas to work in. And typically the people we're working with aren't making small little items like this. And if they are, they're making thousands of them on much bigger printers. But
I don't know if I've ever worked with someone who's done patches like
No,
these. This is the one I just made, and you know, I'm going to ship this off today. But
and what we do scales. I mean, what we learn here can scale all the way up to 200-inch printers and full-scale rips versus smaller dedicated pieces of software. So yeah, it's
well, I think going through this process a lot of time, you know, there's a lot of variables in dye sublimation printing, a lot of them. So when we are out in the field, either consulting or training, and people have questions about it, it's like, hey, I've been there, and this is what I tried, and this is how I got it to work. But you know, a lot of it is what we're doing today is just trial and error.
We're actually on our third mug, so and it's not much better. So what we figured out, Shelby and I have been brainstorming in our breaks here. We did get mugs to work at one point, and we're remembering that we went with a higher temperature than recommended and a longer dwell time. And so we're gonna crank the pressure up a little bit. We're gonna go longer and hotter. Hopefully we'll get a good one, and if we don't, you won't see these products in our Etsy store, but I'm pretty sure we'll get a good one on the next one around.
I hope so.
So,
yep. All right.
All right, we'll see you again next week.